Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel, The Unplanned Life. Today I would like to share with you a recap of the notebooks that I used in 2020. It started with this one. This is a large Moleskine notebook that I found in my stash, which I didn't use then because it did not have the fountain pen friendly paper anymore. I already have a flip through video of this notebook last December 17, exactly 1 year to the day I started using it, and I will link that video in the description box. I started using this notebook on December 17, 2019, like I said, but I finished filling this out on April 30 of 2020, so this was the notebook that brought me into 2020. While I was still on the Moleskine, I started looking for my next notebook and I could not find any that I liked. But I was fast running out of pages and it was the lockdown in our country. All of the stores were closed from March 15 through June. So I made this blue notebook myself using limited materials and tools that I could find in the house. I have a video of how I made this and what materials and tools I used, and I will link it below. And I did not think of printing rules on the sheets when I made this, so I tried to draw the rules on it using a fountain pen, but I kept making so many mistakes, so I cut off the pages, as you can see here. This is my old business card, which I actually have to make new ones of because I have changed my phone number a couple of months ago. I used this notebook from May 1 through the end of July, and the cover I used for this is the Hobonichi Petite Fleur, as I have noted down here at the bottom of the title page. And because the paper on here didn't have rules, like I said, I used this writing guide here. Now let me flip through this video while cutting out the parts that have confidential information on them. Some pages without confidential information will also have to be cut if the facing page has confidential information on them. I'm sure everybody understands. I actually used that writing guide only for the journal pages, but for the logs, I just decided to draw lines on the paper using a yellow pencil, a yellow watercolor pencil, so that it will be light enough but will still be visible. The paper on this notebook isn't made for fountain pens, so I used mostly a pencil, but after a while, I really could not live without using a fountain pen, especially after the months of using purely a pencil on the previous Moleskine notebook, so I found a way to use fountain pens here for my journal entries. I would print yellow lines on a sheet of Tomoe River paper, which I still have a lot of in my stash, cut them down to size, and then pasted them onto the pages, as you can see here on this tracking sheet that I made for the pens and inks that I have in use at the time. When I ran out of the yellow pencil, the online shops also began operating again, so I was able to purchase a Pilot Eno mechanical pencil with a set of colored leads, and I just used some of them to draw the rules on the pages. I also do some memory keeping in my journal pages, and here I have the packaging and the SKU barcodes of the Orion protractors that I bought. I always have Orion rulers with me, and I buy a set every year. I believe this was when the stores were already open, and yes, one of the first things that I bought were rulers. While I was on this notebook, I was still in search of my next notebook, and I purchased the Taroko Mystique from Etsy, which was quite expensive, including shipping, but I didn't like it. I have a negative review of it on my channel, and I will link it in the description box. And that was notebook number 2 for 2020, still the anti-planner, because there are still no calendars or planner pages on here. Notebook number 3 for the year 2020 is, incidentally, the Unplanned Life handmade notebook with serial number 003. I didn't notice that coincidence before. This was the period when I was just starting putting up my little notebook making business, and this is the third notebook ever that I made. Notebook number 001 went to my sister. I used this notebook the longest, from August 1 through December 20, and there was an overlap of use between this notebook here and the next one, which I explained in a previous video, which I will link down below. This is still the anti-planner non-system, as I have noted down on the title page. The notebook cover that I used for this notebook is the alphabet maze from Hobonichi, as noted on the bottom of the title page. I believe it was the lack of notebook options for me that made me seriously consider investing in bookbinding tools and papers so I can make my own notebooks instead of having to look for them every time, and I also decided to make them available to other people for sale. This notebook, by the way, was the notebook that carried me through my COVID-19 illness. I was diagnosed as COVID positive on the 20th of September, and our house was placed under lockdown, and the lockdown was lifted on the 2nd of October. So this notebook carried all of my health monitoring, my food log, and all of my health symptoms during that time. I did use a pencil for the logs on here because by this time I have already started using 4B leads. I liked the 4B leads, and I liked the pencil that I was using, which was the Pilot Optshaker mechanical pencil, which I have a video of in my channel as well. But because this notebook is the Unplanned Life notebook and therefore has Elias paper, which is a paper made specially for fountain pens, I could now journal with gusto using all of the fountain pens and inks that I have left. Unfortunately, I cannot show those journal entries in this flip through for personal reasons, which I'm sure everybody understands. And now we come to the notebook that I am about to finish using. I started this notebook only on November 24, but this is no longer the anti-planner. This is now a catch-all notebook. I have started planning in this notebook on November 30, and I also started doing morning pages on November 30 as part of my morning routine in an attempt to have a healthier and more emotionally balanced lifestyle. And that's why I went through this notebook so fast. Today is January 3, and I am scheduled to move into my new notebook tomorrow, and I have only 4 sheets left in here. But this is the notebook that brought me out of 2020 and into 2021. I know everyone is relieved that 2020 is over, and I am no different. But in my case, I consider myself extremely lucky that it has not been all that bad. A few very good things also happened to me in 2020, and I am very, very grateful. Now we are already 2 days into 2021. We cannot automatically assume that this year will be better, that we have seen the worst of COVID-19, because we don't know that. For all we know, something even worse could come along. But I suppose it is part of human nature to hope and to assume that because something is new, it is automatically better. You know, like what Barney Stinson says, that new is always better. Not true, by the way. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this cheered you up a bit. Please try to look back on the notebooks you have had in the past that carried you through some difficult times. It feels like those notebooks are very good friends, doesn't it? Thank you for watching this video, and farewell 2020.